Hello, everyone. Okay, so I promised I was going to come on and talk about GLPs and weight loss and hormones and regaining weight and all of these hot topics. And not going to lie, it's been a long day. I've had a busy full day, which is a beautiful problem to have. So I just want to open the floor up and I'm here to answer your questions related to GLPs, my personal experience, clients I've worked with who have used them. Also talking more about other peptides in general, if you have questions about those, talking about weight loss, talking about hormones, but also a little bit about me. As you drop questions into the chat, I will address them as they come in. I also have questions that were submitted in advance. So if I'm looking over here, that's what I'm checking out so that I can answer questions to folks who couldn't make it live. So I will be recording this over on Instagram. And in case you're following me over on TikTok, I am at Marissa Faye Wellness on TikTok and Instagram. Okay. So make sure you follow me on Instagram. I'm way more engaged in the DMs there. It's so much easier for us to communicate there. So I just love to see people on TikTok find me over on Instagram too, and just let me know, hey, found you on TikTok. I would love to connect with you there. But a little background on me. So I have been in the weight loss game my whole life, pretty much. I went on my first diet when I was 11. Anybody here try Slim Fast? As an 11-year-old, not the best choice, right? But really, I feel like millennials especially, so anybody who's in their 30s or 40s, and maybe even older, right, remembers just the craze of being as skinny as humanly possible. And boy, that is a wild, wild thing. That no longer, it doesn't seem like current generations have to deal with that. The young people are dealing with that quite as much as we were, but everything told me my body needed to be smaller. And in trying to do so, my body said, F you, no thank you. And that was my first sign of hormones being messed up. So there's a lot of conversation about hormones, right? And I feel like perimenopause is having a moment, which is amazing, right? We should be talking about perimenopause more and more. We should be talking about menopause more. We should be talking about aging more. Shouldn't be something scary and out there in the distance. It really should be something we're preparing for, right? And I had a conversation yesterday with somebody who is going to be working with me through my one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching app, which P.S. little announcement, I'm announcing it. That's part of why I wanted to do this live and chat with you all, is because I am going to be offering, I did this 2 years ago, didn't love the infrastructure I had there. So rebooting it now, really excited about it, but doing one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching. And I was talking to somebody yesterday who ended up signing up because I just opened up 3 beta tester slots. I'm just taking on a very small group of women to start out with for the month of April. And I was talking to someone and she's in her 40s and she's like, I want to live my life now and train now and get healthy now so that when I am 80, I am still active and I'm playing with my grandkids and I'm in good health. And that is how we should be thinking, right? A lot of us, though, get stuck in the moment right now and being so focused on weight loss that we do things that are of detriment to our bodies. And one of those things I'm seeing a lot of women do that's detriment to their bodies is take GLP-1s and lose weight too quickly and lose weight without a plan. Other medications I've seen people take, phentermine, Contrave, which is a blend of Wellbutrin and low-dose naltrexone. Other things they're getting through weight loss centers like Tesamorelin or Sermorelin. All of these can sometimes have their time and place, but a lot of times the doses people are taking are really, really high, and they're also not doing things related to their fitness. They're not doing things related to their nutrition. They're not thinking about their day-to-day habits, and they are just simply eating less and less, and they are muscle wasting. And this is a huge risk of fractures, of reducing your bone density, of increasing things like osteoporosis in your future, of increasing risks related to your gallbladder and liver health, of potentially even increasing cancer risks, which is something we're learning more about as these tools are becoming more prevalent. And so I've become really passionate about working with women and talking to women about GLP-1s, about medications, and about even supplements that are marketed to you as helping with weight loss, and doing that in a way that's actually going to be complementary to your hormones, doing that in a way that's actually going to, in the long run, improve your health and create sustainable weight loss. So if you're just joining, hi, I'm Marissa. I'm so glad you're here. I'm a holistic nutritionist. I'm also a fitness instructor. I am also deeply passionate about supporting women when it comes to their hormone health, improving your energy levels, and helping you lose weight in a way that's going to be sustainable. And I'm answering questions today about GLP-1s, about peptides, about weight loss, and about hormones. So if you have one, drop it in the chat. I have a list of questions I'm going to answer from things people submitted over on Instagram because I put a little question box up. But I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you if there's some way that I can help you, support you, or demystify anything in this moment right now. I would love to support you and do that. But one of the questions I got from a couple of people was, what is the deal if you come off of GLP-1 medication? So if you come off of something like Ozempic or Mounjaro or Wegovy, will I gain all the way back, or do people gain all the way back? And what's going on with that? And what I have seen is there are two camps, okay? These peptides have the ability to actually improve underlying metabolic issues. And that's just a fancy way of saying that it's influencing hormones. It's influencing hormones, okay? And in doing so, it actually can help to repair and heal things that may have been slightly dysfunctional. I know I personally have found that as I've been using low dose amounts of tirzepatide, which is just non-brand name Mounjaro. And the other one that I always forget there's another pharmaceutical of that. But it's not all I've used. So I've lost weight naturally, 70 pounds, by the way, with a 40-pound regain that I lost again naturally, all before I started using low-dose tirzepatide at the end of 2020. No, I used it in 2024. Calendars are hard, y'all. But I did all that naturally. So I'm very familiar with how to lose weight naturally, how to do it in a way that is good for your hormones, going to support your hormones, how to use supplements to support that, how to use functional lab work to support that. I am very intimately familiar with that. And then also with using low dose, especially for me, GLP-1. But there's two camps when it comes to coming off of GLPs. There is the one camp who did not prepare to come off of this medication or this tool or this peptide. That camp is the camp that tends to, not always, but tends to regain the weight. Okay? Like, to put it simply, any weight loss medication or aid that you're going to use that you then stop taking and that then alters how much you're going to eat, you are going to have regain. Okay? So it's not creating a sustainable change. Then there's the other camp, the people who are smart, like the people that I work with, the way that I'm treating this and using it, the way that I'm working with women through my one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching app, which if you would like more information, just send me a DM and put the word apply in, and I will send you the application to learn more about working with me through that. But the other camp, which is like what I've done, are people like me who are working out in a way that works with your hormones and not against them. I see a lot of trainers, a lot of health coaches out there who are even showing their exercise routines and trying to brag about the weight that they've lost. They're all going to have a rebound effect. They're messing up their hormones because they're not working out in a way that actually works with female physiology. And that's who I specialize in working with. They are working out in a way that is damaging their hormones. It's damaging their cortisol. It's damaging their estrogen. It's damaging their progesterone. It's going to make their life harder in the long run. So I am working out in a way that is truly intelligent and smart from a hormone perspective and a muscle building, muscle growth perspective, because building muscle happens in the rest. It doesn't happen in the work. So people who are doing strength training every single day of the week are doing it wrong. Okay. So I'm working out in a way that's complementary. I'm also working out in a way that I slowly built up to over time and that I'm sustaining and will sustain when I stop using tirzepatide low dose GLP medication or peptide, because I don't use the medication, I use the peptide. So that's the next factor. The next factor, my diet is so dialed in to support muscle growth, to support hormone health, to support regulating my cortisol levels, to support my full body health and well-being. I eat not too much, but I eat enough, and I eat enough to build muscle, which is so important. So many women have got that all wrong, okay? And so they come off these GLPs and they gain weight back because it was just mega suppressing their appetite and they didn't continue to eat, and they also weren't eating in a way to grow muscle, okay? That's the next thing. The next thing they're doing and I'm doing, right, is taking care of my detoxification pathways. So I make sure I poop every day. I make sure I'm drinking high quality filtered water with naturally occurring electrolytes, which I just made a post over on Instagram about what I'm putting in my water these days. So check that out. It's anti-inflammatory. It can support goals related to weight loss. It can make your water taste better and more interesting. So check it out over on Instagram at Marissa Faye Wellness, and I will literally DM you the recipe. It's so good. I'm obsessed with it. I'm actually out of it. I'm looking at my water. I'm out of it and want some more. So I'm doing things to support my detoxification, which is huge, because when you are losing weight, you have to make sure that the toxins that are what's locked into fat cells, literally a protective mechanism your body has, is it makes, I call them icebergs. You might have heard me talk about this if you followed me for a while. Your body makes icebergs. They're fat. And it puts toxins in them because it's like, oh, we can't deal with these. We just can't deal with these right now. It's not safe for us. We can't move it out. They're troublemakers. We're just going to freeze them in your fat. That's so fun, isn't it? When you gain weight and that's what's happening. It's that toxic weight gain. And you'll know that because your face starts to get fat. You'll know it because your belly increases in weight. You'll know it because you feel bloated and uncomfortable. That's that kind of toxic fat, okay? And within that, your body has put toxins and frozen it within your fat. Okay. So when you force your body to lose weight, like people are doing on high doses of these peptides, what happens is then you are forcing your body to deal with that toxic load. And a lot of bodies are not ready for it. And that's where we see a lot of impact on the pancreas and liver. What I have seen, and in talking with other colleagues who are working with clients who use these peptides like I do, what we've been seeing is that the people who are going to the emergency room with pancreatitis, with severe digestive issues, they are people who have not worked on their detoxification. They are people who have not worked on that toxic fat component, and they're people who are not working on an appropriate dietary approach and fitness approach and habit approach. And so literally what I'm doing inside of my fitness and nutrition coaching app is just that. So if you're interested in learning more about one-on-one nutrition and fitness coaching with me, if you're somebody who's explored GLPs, interested in exploring GLPs, I think this would be the perfect thing for you to create long-lasting and sustainable results so your body is ready when you come off of these or when you want to go on them potentially. And while I cannot give medical advice, I can help you to be in a better spot physically to work with these really, really powerful tools when they're used appropriately. So head over to my DMs and Instagram, drop the word apply if you want to get the application, or just send me a message and we can chat about it. But I'm really excited to be coaching clients in that way. I've been doing functional nutrition and coaching for over 8 years now. And I love this work, but I also feel really called to get into the weeds, which is something that I can do in this nutrition and fitness coaching app. So that's what I wanted to share with you all, but let me answer a couple other common questions that I had submitted. And I'm seeing the chat is, pretty quiet. So if you have a question related to GLPs, low dosing GLPs, if you have a question related to hormones, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'm going to go through over here. I'm double streaming Instagram and TikTok. So thank you for joining me. I'm so glad that you are here. We can have an honest conversation about weight stuff that I feel like does not happen a lot of places. But over on TikTok, I saw some things come in. Micah, it censored part of your comment. You said you've had 5 pregnancies back to back. Wow, that is a lot. And you're taking some time to rest. I hope you are. And then you were talking about some of your body fat. Feel free to re-comment. I think you're saying it goes to your belly and you don't know if it's hormonal or genetic. So here's the thing about belly fat is a lot of times it has, at least in part, to do with cortisol and stress hormones, which makes sense. If you just had 5 kids back to back, your body is probably incredibly depleted and your life is probably very full, right? That's a nice way of saying it. So we would want you to find pockets of time anytime where you can really recalibrate your nervous system, where you can take deep breaths, where you can listen to, I love solfeggio music. So you can go on Spotify and just search solfeggio music, and put in like calm, and literally just take a moment for yourself to help recalibrate. That is a really important first place to start. And I also find walking is hugely therapeutic in those situations as well. But belly fat usually has to do with cortisol. I have a whole course on cortisol. I have a whole free masterclass actually that's in the link inside of my bio if you want to check it out. But it usually needs to be addressed and focused on. And that's also why inside of my one-on-one nutrition and fitness coaching app, I'm going to be doing a lot of things to help you improve your cortisol unknowingly. And there's going to be a ton of resources there, including nervous system exercises that are things I recommend literally every woman be doing. It's something that is not optional in my opinion. And somehow we've made taking care of ourselves optional unless it has to do with our weight. And my mission is to couple weight and weight loss with learning how to take better care of your nervous system and your hormones, because it's a huge opportunity and a lot of us aren't taking it to actually take the moment to really learn how to better take care of our bodies. Cheryl asked, do GLPs tend to interact with medications? So Cheryl, I always have to give the caveat here that I'm not a doctor and I'm not a pharmacist, right? But what I can tell you as somebody who has helped train other practitioners on peptides is that it depends on how much you're taking is probably the first thing, because GLPs slow down digestion. And so they tend to impact most medications that you're taking orally because it can slow down absorption. So it's something that you definitely have to be mindful of. I would also assume that there are some contraindications with other things, and actually know this, you can find it online, other things that are going to impact your blood sugar. So it's definitely something to be really mindful of with insulin, with metformin, things like that. And I'm certain there's other medications that it could have an impact with as well, but those are things that you'd want to check in with a pharmacist about, or your doctor about, depending on your particular situation. But the answer broadly is like, yes, it can interact with things. The specifics of that are going to depend on what exactly, right, is being taken. I use peptides with a lot of my clients. I use oral peptides. So GLP-1s are just one category of peptides. There are over 500 that we know of at least. So there's a lot of options, and I use topically to help with fine lines and wrinkles. I use orally to help heal tissue, to help support my immune system. So there's a lot of peptides out there that you've just scratched the surface of if all you know about are GLPs, by the way. There's so much out there. They're so incredibly cool. They're such powerful tools. And so there's something I use regularly in my practice orally as a supplement in my practice as a functional nutritionist, well beyond, clients I work with who take GLPs. And again, I'm not a prescriber, but people come to me taking them, and I support people with fitness, with nutrition, with functional medicine who are taking them. And just that plug that I do have beta tester slots open for my one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching app. If you're interested in that, make sure you find the DMs and check in with me about how many spots I have left. And if you head over to Instagram and type in the word apply and send me a DM, you will get the application to be considered for that. Somebody asked, do you know how long an unopened vial of semaglutide lasts in the fridge? I do not. I am sorry. That's a question for the pharmaceutical company or whatever company you purchase them from. What are your thoughts on the GLP-1 drops some companies are now offering? It's a great question. So there's also actually tablets or pills as well. Ribellus, I believe is what it's called under the brand name. So there are other ways to get these semaglutides. And they don't necessarily have to be injected. And some of the data that we're seeing is that these still can be effective. The efficacy just kind of changes. The ability it has to impact changes. But I don't have a ton of personal experience observing people who have been taking these drops. I'm really curious about them. And I anticipate that I'll be working with plenty of women who are taking them inside of my one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching app that I have beta tester spots open for right now. If you're interested, send me a DM over on Instagram. But I am not yet super familiar. I don't yet have like a super well-formed opinion is what I would say. But what I would say is effective to some extent, most likely. As effective as the injection when it comes to weight loss, probably slightly less just because of the delivery route, but I could certainly see a world in which there's still benefit from that as well. So that's what I would say. Cheryl said, thank you. I'll definitely have to research further before asking. Yeah. I think always, like, we live in this culture, and there's a beautiful thing about this where we're so exposed to so much information on social media, and it can definitely be really overwhelming. Yes. Okay. So I've seen somebody said, I don't have access to Instagram, but interested in the one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching. Yeah. So you can send me an email. TikTok, the DMs, like, they get lost. I have too many and I can't send you things there. So it kind of sucks and limits our conversation, but you can always send me an email, which is info at marissafaye.com. That's MARISAFAYE.com. And I'm literally trying to go in and be like, why can't I comment? I thought I used to be able to comment here, y'all. Let's see if I can add a comment. Yes, I can. Okay, so you can always send me an email, and I'm dropping it in there now. I know this is like a really beautiful view of my face. Okay, so there's my email, info@marissafaye.com. You can feel free to send me an email if you don't have Instagram and you're interested in learning more about the one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching app with me. And we can get you rocking and rolling and get you all the details that you need there. Because this beta tester opportunity is pretty great. Not gonna lie. And it's there to support women who are dealing with struggles related to weight, energy, especially things that feel like I am hormonal, right? If you're dealing with fat gain around the waist, in the face, if you feel like you're aging faster than you should be, if you want to build muscle, maintain muscle, and use things like GLPs, this is really an incredible support that I'd love to help you with. So feel free to send me an email, or like I said, you can DM me over on Instagram if you have access on Instagram, and at Marissa Faye Wellness in both places. Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions come in there. So let me see what else I was asked. I'm looking at my list of questions that I was asked. Some people are not losing weight on GLP medications. Anybody in that boat? Or even just peptides. So glucagon-like peptides. So some people are taking weight loss peptides and not losing weight. So that kind of person, if that's you and you submitted that question, I would be really curious to see what you're eating. I would be really curious to see how you're exercising. I would be really curious to do a symptom inventory for you. Those are things that I'm doing inside of the one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching experience with me via app. And so I bet there's a misalignment there, because these medications tend to work best when we work with them, okay? And I'm noticing there's plenty of people, though, who just take them and don't eat any food. And those are the people, not to fully circle back, but where we kind of started with the question of like, what about regain when you come off of them? But those are the people I am really concerned about regaining when they come off of them. It's like, if you don't change anything, right, or you don't change enough, or you don't eat as much as you can and still see results, that's part of the key here, then you're going to be left in a problematic situation when you come off of them or you lower your dose, most likely. Somebody asked, is it true GLPs cause muscle loss, and how can I prevent it? Love that question. So yes, they can cause muscle loss because a lot of people are under eating, which you're at risk of on any diet, any calorie restriction you're at risk of. But also a lot of women especially are not eating the right proportion of foods. And we are just living in a society where we are under-proteined. It's like some people are so over-proteined, but I would say as a whole, we are under-proteined. And a lot of women are super averse to proteins. I feel like a lot of us were taught like, oh, nuts and seeds are a protein source. Oh, beans give you protein. They don't give you enough. They don't give you even close to enough. And so really dialing in the appropriate amount of food overall, because you need enough fuel, enough calories, enough food to maintain muscle anyways. You need enough protein. And then you also need to be stimulating your muscle growth with exercise. Okay. And I see a lot of women doing this wrong. That is why I'm doing one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching through my app, because people need to be doing this correctly. And it's simple once you get in the groove with it, but it can feel so daunting. And so the best way to prevent muscle loss, if you are taking a GLP or interested in taking a GLP, is doing the right kind of movement, is lifting weights, is eating enough food, is eating enough protein, is not fasting, okay? Fasting is problematic even for so many other reasons that some of you know because we've probably talked about it. And not to totally crap on fasting, it has its time and place, but one of the reasons it can be so problematic is that a lot of women lose too much muscle mass. And so one of the things I'm a big fan of is you can buy pretty cheaply online, and I'm sure places like Target have it if you're in the United States, a bioimpedance scale. And this is a scale that's going to measure your body fat, your muscle mass, your lean mass, your water mass. So it's going to measure what your body is comprised of. And most of these scales, by the way, are decently accurate now. You also could get a DEXA scan. I know there's a place near me that charges under $100 for a DEXA scan. I try to go every 6 months, which I'm due for one. And I want to do one, and I want to share the results with you and compare to the last one I did about 6 months ago so we can see together where I'm at as far as preserving muscle mass. I know because I have a bioimpedance scale that I've done pretty well preserving muscle mass, and now I'd like to grow more. And so I'm moving into a grow more muscle phase of my own training and my own nutrition plan. But I think that's a really important way to like keep yourself honest. Are you eating enough? Are you taking care of your muscles enough? Are you exercising enough? And people get overwhelmed with that. And I hear a lot where people are like, oh, I don't want to track things. And I'm like, okay, you don't have to track for life, but I think we all need a period of time where we do closely track what we're eating, where we do closely track our movement and exercise, because what you measure, you cannot change. You know that saying? I used to hate that saying. Now I love it. What you measure, you cannot change. And so we don't need somebody to get obsessive about measuring things forever, but taking 3 months to really closely measure and learn about your body is hugely helpful. And I have clients do this sometimes by wearing a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor. And I just had actually a whole wave of clients, including clients who are probably going to jump on this one-on-one coaching app experience. But looking at how your glucose is responding in the moment to foods can actually tell you so much about not just the metabolic impact, the fat building potential impact, but also the impact of things like food sensitivities, because we can also see a reaction with blood glucose based on that. So a lot of cool data that we can get from paying attention and tracking closely what's going on with our body at home. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like wildly expensive or advanced testing. So I think that's really neat. Okay. I have to run and wrap up some protocols for clients, but I'm so glad that you jumped on to join me today. And if you have any lingering questions, please feel free to comment, especially on Instagram, where I'm going to repost this video. But just the last little heads up, I'm announcing one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching through my app. And you can apply literally over on Instagram, drop the word apply and I'll send you the application. But I just have a couple beta tester spots to get started at the end of this month. So if you'd like one of those or you want to chat about one of those, please find me over on Instagram, or feel free to send me an email at info@marissafay.com, 1S, 1R. Faye. People ask me all the time if it's 2 R's. I've never met a Marissa with 2 R's, and it's just 1S. But I would love to chat more about supporting you or answer questions you may have that are lingering from this discussion today. And I will see you again sometime soon.